And welcome back to another training with Antoinette Engelke from Soaring to Source. I'm so glad you're with me. And we're going to continue talking about grudges. Grudges is something that's really important to talk about because we all need to be releasing those grudges. So last week we talked about, why it is that we actually hold on to the grudges. We talked about some high-level things to think about when you're considering releasing that grudge, or you're thinking about this whole process. Really what it's all about. So one thing that I do want to mention, I didn't mention this last week, but if you are suffering from being a victim of a crime or abuse, trauma, PTSD, then you do need a team of people. It's not just one person. So I would definitely love to be a part of your team, and to help with the heart math techniques and the mindfulness and the meditation techniques. But you also will need most likely counseling, psychology, psychiatry. So and I can help you find that team if you need that help. So. I did want to mention that because traumas are a little bit more difficult to get over and to move on from. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of a recap. And what I want to mainly recap is the things that I want you thinking about. And one of them is that when you're talking about releasing a grudge, you're releasing it for you and you alone. So we don't want this grudge that is holding the stress inside of you. It's eating you from the inside out. That's what we're trying to stop. And especially we've talked about stress-related diseases, and all that's going to do is cause one of those to possibly occur, and you don't want that. So it also doesn't mean that you're going to let this person back into your life, and whatever happened. So again, this is for you; it's for nobody else. And we talked about that scale from 1 to 10, and if you're at like a level 3 or above, then you are bringing the past into a situation, and you're bringing some open wounds in. So you need to be considering that. We also talked about that everyone's not the same. What offends me isn't going to offend you, and vice versa. And we also talked about that we're not all perfect and that we all make mistakes. So we need to keep these things in mind as we're, looking at the grudges that we're holding on to people. A couple more things to look at is if a grudge happened a long time ago. Let's say one situation that comes up in my mind is that when I was a child, I was bullied. And when I would walk from my house to the elementary school, I would cut through these woods to get there. And this bully would bully me either on the way to school or on the way home. And I remember not wanting to go to school, and it was a really bad situation for me as a child. But today, when I think about that person, I'm not holding a grudge. And, I know that the person has most likely grown up and, could be a grandpa, just like I'm a Nona. That, what's the purpose in holding a grudge for this person that is most likely changed and moved on themselves, and that they're, they could have grown up and matured, and, don't bully people, today. So that's another thing to keep in mind is how long ago was that, and could that person have changed for the good? The other thing is, and this is one thing why people may not be going through releasing a grudge, is because in order to release a grudge, if there's grief involved, and a lot of times there is, if it's a nasty divorce, if it's losing a long-term relationship of any kind, then there's going to be a grieving process. And that grieving process is painful, but you do need to go through the grieving stages and come out the other end. Holding on to that grudge will prevent us from being able to get through that grieving process, which is healing. So, I want you thinking about that when you're thinking about the different things that are triggering you. We talked about the different triggers. As you think about one, why are you holding on to it? And because that is key. So when you're releasing a grudge, it doesn't mean that the situation didn't hurt you. It doesn't mean that you're not hurt. You still are hurt, but again, we're doing it to be able to get past that hurt. So so it's not at all saying that the situation was okay. Again, we're not saying that the person is going to come back into your life, and we're not saying that the person even apologized to you or has made any kind of amends at all. Again, this is for you. So what it means is that you're letting go of the dark feelings, you're letting go of the dark thoughts, and you're doing this for your own healing process. So what are the steps for this healing process? The first thing, I've talked about this so many times, it's journaling. I know people don't like to journal, but if you can, sit down and whatever grudge you're holding on to, journal about it. Talk about it in this, on paper, because there's a whole process that's happening as you're writing. You're doing something, you're seeing it on the paper, you're using all your senses. And when you're using all your senses, you can actually start seeing things differently. So it's really, really important to journal. And so I really want you to, journal the situation, journal how you felt, journal what happened. And then I want you to think about it from their perspective, because a lot of times when we're holding a grudge, we've got such tunnel vision, and that tunnel vision is only about what we felt and what happened to us. And so I want you to really think about, because we talked about how people are different, right? So, maybe they had good intentions, but the outcome wasn't quite how they had expected it to be. That's a really good possibility. So, think about it that way. What were they feeling? What were possible reasons why they did what they did? That just kind of helps take away some of the dark feelings that are around it. And but again, it doesn't mean that you weren't hurt. It just means we're just trying to help you get through it. And so, it doesn't negate anything that happened to you. It's just helping you moving on from the feelings. Something else that I've talked about, that's an very old technique, and that is to write them a letter. We're not saying you're sending the letter. I don't want you to send the letter, but write them a letter and really, really get all your feelings out around it. Say all those 4-letter words or, whatever, and just really, it really gets all those negative feelings and negative thoughts out of you, and opens you up to being able to accept more of the compassion and the love that you really need. So so write that letter and destroy it. Destroy it through cutting it up, ripping it up, putting it in a shredder. Just be careful. Don't necessarily burn it, because I don't need you burning anything down. So, but definitely, get rid of that letter. So that you don't accidentally send it or accidentally have somebody read it. That wouldn't be a good thing, right? So, all right. So what are some of the other things? And I think I'm going here. We're going to talk about heart math. A lot of what I've already talked about, the journaling, the changing the perspective, the writing the letter, that's all about getting those negative feelings and emotions out. Heart math also helps you get them out, but the one thing that they help you do is they help you bring the compassion and the love back in and fill you back up with compassion and gratitude and love and peace and joy. So, and we talked about this last week, how the one thing that you're looking for when you're holding a grudge and when you're stewing on something, you're looking for somebody to give you some extra kindness, some compassion and gratitude, but you can't let it in because the grudge is putting a wall around your heart. And so we need to break that wall down, and we need to bring the love and the compassion in, and heart math is going to help you do that. The mindful techniques are to help you to always keep in the present moment, and they more help you through the day to day, but you do need those mindful techniques so that you don't get to the point of grudges. So I don't want to not talk about mindful techniques, but the one other big one that's needed besides the heart math is going to be the meditation. Meditation does not have to be something that is, 20 minutes or half hour, an hour, or anything like that. You could do a meditation in 3 minutes. I could teach you how to do that so that you can help move thoughts along. And that's the big thing, is moving those negative thoughts along so that you can bring those positive thoughts in. And meditation is scientifically proven. It's proven to reduce stress and anxiety for this reason. So that's why we want to be able to use that. And the heart math and the meditation techniques are key to being able to forgive. And they're also key because in the end, we talk, we talked about it, and I'm going to say this again, to that one of the things that we're trying to do is we're wanting to bring that compassion and that love in. And unfortunately, what's happening is we're trying to bring it in from the outside, and really that's not where it needs to come from. It has to come from within. And the only way you're going to be able to find it from within is through the heart math techniques. That's the only way that, that's the one way that I've been able to do it, and it's been very, very successful. If you look at my webpage, you'll see some great references that I have around it and how it's been able to help people. So heart math is amazing, and you do need to be able to truly love yourself so that you can heal. You need to bring yourself to the forefront, to be number one, and only through that true love for yourself are you going to be able to heal. And I think that's really the main thing that is going to help you to get over a grudge, is to truly find a way to love yourself. And you can't do it as long as you're holding on to these negative feelings and these negative thoughts and all the stress that's deep inside of you. So why don't you go ahead and click on that link to schedule a call with me so that we can talk more about how heart math and meditation can help you get over a grudge. I would love to talk to you. Okay. Well, you have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you again next week.